what do you think the, like, what's the overall, based on what we just went over, what's the attitude about drugs or medicines in Scientology?
I mean, when you first come in to an org, you'll get an interview on an e-meter. You get hooked up to an e-meter, and they're going to ask you, as part of the questions, which drugs you've taken and which ones you're taking currently. Those get listed out, and they're required to give you the dosages, how often you take them, whether they're prescribed or not. All those things get listed out, and then that information will be written down and sent to me, and I have to decide if they're allowed to keep taking any of those things or not. No painkillers, obviously, of any level, even the mildest. I did want to make a small point on that, which is under dire circumstances where you had to do it to get a fever down, we would do that. But that was about it for pain medication. Anything that, I think this is the easiest way to put it, a lot of them were up in the air in the decision of the case supervisor, but any of them that have to do with if a psychiatrist uses it for any reason whatsoever, it is completely not allowed in Scientology, no matter what. It doesn't matter if they use it for X condition and you're using it for an actual physical condition. That doesn't matter at all. And that's where you get the seizure medicine. The reason why it's not okay is because it is a neurological, it addresses a neurological system, and that's why it's not allowed. Anything that is a drug addressed towards the brain or the neurological system is completely not allowed.
Right. This is why Tori Magoo talks about how she was epileptic and she couldn't be taking her epilepsy medication, and she had to fight hard in order to get that through, not you personally, but the case supervisor.
Oh yeah, I would butt heads with her on that, and I never dealt with her, but I would have said no. I mean, you have to find another way. You are making yourself an illegal PC by continuing to take your medication, and if you ever want to get back on the grade chart and make it to spiritual freedom, you have to find a way around needing that medication, because you will not be allowed to have it. And because, epilepsy medicine, I mean, is taken long term. That long-term aspect, you can have a mild, this was the rules when I was in, and these things change as they get interpreted differently, but you could have a mild medication like Valium. If you took Valium for a couple of weeks or something, you're not going to be an illegal PC. But if you have taken it for an extended period of time, like you regularly take Valium for years, you're an illegal PC and you will not be able to get any auditing at all.
Exactly. I was going to clarify. Illegal PC being a PC is a term we've used that a few times here in the video. It's a term in Scientology for a person who's receiving Scientology counseling. It stands for pre-clear, a person who has not yet achieved the state of clear. And it's a general catch-all term in Scientology for anybody who's basically getting auditing at any level. I mean, you can talk about a pre-OT after a person has achieved the state of clear, but that's just being a little technical. Yeah. Everybody says pre-clear or PC. And now, to be clear, you mentioned a little earlier, the only training you had was reading the physician's desk reference and some small red book about psychiatric medication.
It's a red pamphlet. I sent you a picture of it a while back.
Yeah.
It's I think it's called Psychiatry. I think that's the name of it, and it came out of some small group in San Francisco. That's all I remembered about it.
And that was the extent of your training on this topic.
Yes. Everything. Yes.
Wow. So did you ever dive into why a psychotropic is a psychotropic, or what makes something a psychiatric drug, and SSRIs, what they're doing with the brain, that sort of, do you ever dive into that level of detail?
You're making a strong assumption that we had access to regular libraries.
I want to make sure people out there understand, like where this is coming from,
it would have been a great idea to send me down to the local library to look up some of this stuff. I mean, forget about the internet, but just to a local library
Yeah.
You know, because I had a physician's desk reference and this book on psychiatry, and you know, I had to figure out from those two books which types of drugs were milder and which ones were heavier. Because, you know, there's one that's like called a chemical straitjacket, and that one you take one of them and you're an illegal PC in Scientology. You can't get any auditing. I don't even remember what it was called.